great one. Right on our doorstep, gentlemen. Right on our doorstep. We are going to be seeing Team Liquid taking on 2Z. This is the winner's bracket matchup for Group A. And, well, let's just remind everyone real quickly, and then we'll talk about the match because we have plenty to talk about. Let's remind everyone about who is on Team Liquid. Let's check out their team sheet. Of course, so we got to see them earlier in the first matchup. It includes Wins, Dehang, ID, and Rafa. And there you go. And, of course, their opponents, who had some discussion prior to, some people saying the best EU team that's available right now. They're keeping track on who they're beating in scrims and whatnot, and that is 2Z. And 2Z has Claus, Latromi, Silence P, and Zron. Talk to me about them.
So 2Z are a really interesting team because there was a patch at some point a few months ago. I forget which patch it was, and they suddenly became very good. And previously they didn't know why it became so good. It just everything clicked. The hero pool or the champion pool that they were playing, and basically the speed at which they found their team play could work at. Suddenly everything clicked, and then that kept going for a while. And everybody knew the two teams to beat are Not Too Fast, the super team from Europe, and 2Z, because it's not exactly a group of players or names that you would necessarily expect off the bat that have like this big legacies behind them, like a Toxic, Sturmy, Faz, Noctis, and so on. So then another patch came in, and we had it was possible to play a tanky meta, and they were losing to Not Too Fast a lot in practice because Not Too Fast were running this crazy 3-tank setup. And then there was this period where 2Z started to struggle a bit because they kind of lost their identity. They were like, do we have to run a tank as well? And then now we're back into a new meta where it's just squishies, back to that super fast playstyle. They have once again completely clicked and found an amazing playstyle that's very dominant.
Yeah, and it seems to be fitting them perfectly. And, you know, we did sit down with 2Z, and I'm very curious to hear a little bit from them about their chances here at Quakecon, as well as Team Sacrifice. Let's check this out.
My name is Alexander Dolgov. I am playing for the team 2Z, which is playing Aces on Russian. Our team style is a bit aggressive. We are focused on capturing obelisks. Audience should have a little bit headache because our playstyle is very fast. Our team was formed like half a year ago, so it's kinda new. But the clan tag was created 15 years ago by my father. I'm trying to carry this tradition because I respect my father. My favorite champion is Anarchy. Because of his movement and playstyle, you can basically control your fly when you're jumping in any direction without losing speed. We didn't play against North American teams, but I think that they also should be strong. So we are just keeping focusing about it. Soon we'll meet them and we'll try to do our best.
So we met both teams, and some interesting thoughts there from 2Z. They seem very composed. Don't seem to feel like I see any nerves, nothing of the sort. So I am excited. I mean, you paint a pretty picture as well, and I like the story of like the meta and how they bounce back and forth. You know, the stage performance comes in here, but to say, hey, we think the U.S. teams will be strong, but we're not going to underestimate them. Probably pretty smart strategy coming into here. What do you think about this matchup, Nick?
Well, first, I got to say that's a great attitude to have. Like, I mentioned the emotions. You want to be even. And I think this is a great matchup. I think the winner of this matchup, honestly, you can make an argument that they're the favorite to really win it all. These are two excellent teams. Of course, Not Too Fast is also in the conversation from Europe and Team Johnson. But I really think the winner of this match is going to put themselves in a strong position to maybe take the whole entire thing. So I'm curious, and the rumor is, I don't know how true this is, but 2Z, the rumor, they haven't lost at all in practice really recently. That's the rumor. And if you're not losing at all, that means you're pretty confident, pretty sharp going into a tournament.
Well, I mean, technically, they are undefeated along with Team Liquid here at Quakecon. So, you know, like, unfortunately, someone's going to be putting an L next to their name. Now, DDK, I have a question for you because you talked a little bit about the play style and how the meta's sort of focused back on the squishies. Means we've got a little bit more speed in our compositions as well. Do you feel like there is any one map that favors either side? You know, we've been having this map discussion throughout the day, and it seems kind of like neutral in terms of, but when you talk about two teams that like that speed, that like the squishies, you think any one map favors the other?
You know, I really don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I think that both teams are going to have pretty much a good, even chance in every single map. I don't think one map in particular can favor any one team. I think there is also in certain maps like Burial Chamber, there's some maps which have a larger degree of variance than others, just because of the way you can get your starts and how defensible some of the first positions can be. So the thing for me with 2Z is that there's this huge element that they have, I would say, perhaps, or they, what they did when we played them in practice, because we obviously haven't played since the regionals. I don't know what's changed since then, but they basically played the most weird style, or they played at a pace that no one else played at.
Right.
So it took us specific amounts of practice against them to really adjust to what they were doing, because it was just so different to everyone else. So I don't know if that's going to play into this at all, because I haven't played against all the American teams. Maybe there's an American team out there that plays a similar sort of speed and style to 2Z. I'm not sure, but I think that there will be an adaptation period here. But I think that obviously Team Liquid, like the players on that team, right? I mean, they're made for this.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that. Let me introduce our casters for this particular matchup too, because I'm sure they have a few words to throw in here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Zoot and Tosspot joining us as well. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Thank you very much for the introduction, Marcus. Zoot, a pleasure to be casting with you once again. And as Marcus alluded to, you definitely do have some thoughts on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going off what DDK was saying in terms of the really fast play style from 2Z. I think that's something that, as he said, a lot of teams have been struggling with. And this morning, if I were to see this matchup go ahead, I'd be like, 2Z, you've got this in the bag. This isn't a problem at all. But Team Liquid have been playing really, really well today. They dispatched Maestro quicker than I think anyone would have imagined. And it really shows that this isn't one-sided. We should have a very good matchup here. And I'm actually finding it harder and harder to call.
So I was chatting with some of the Europeans earlier, and they said, like, kind of consciously, unconsciously, they were trying to starve Team Liquid of actual practice matches going into the tournament.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like that had much of an effect.
No.
So the Team Liquid all-star team, does it matter what style they go up against?
I'm not even sure it does. I mean, North Americans, especially any team with Rafa in it, and Dahang has been famously good at the team modes. Honestly, they can adapt to absolutely anything, and it wouldn't be a surprise to me to see them go all the way through in this tournament.
All right, well, speaking of famously good, Marcus, over to you.
Thanks, Stuart. I appreciate that. And so, more to be said. Obviously, this is the first time that we're going to see these two play. Denying scrims, whatever. You got to play on the stage eventually, and so all that's out the window. It's all going to come down to that raw talent, raw skill that we're going to see. And we talked a little bit about maps, but I am curious to see how the map selections actually played out, and we will see that in hopefully just a second, or potentially now. And keep in mind that the winner of this matchup will move on to the semis. The loser still has a chance. They stay alive. They'll fight one more matchup to try to make the semis as well. And there we go. We have our maps for Team Liquid. Looks like Lockbox for 2Z, Ruins, and the final map going to be Burial Chamber.
Interesting little switch up from Team Liquid. I don't think I've seen Lockbox being picked first.
They were right. They had it as map 3 in the first game. We never saw that one.
So I'm wondering if this is a little strategy. I don't know. Maybe they've watched some games of 2Z, from the qualifiers maybe, and saw something that they like to exploit on Lockbox. There's certainly some of that. I got to laugh a little bit at the gamemanship from trying to starve another team out of practice. Man, that goes back all the way. People have always tried to keep their secrets.
It does.
It's
back
funny.
to the days where teams would all alias up, and you'd have an idea, but only that server admin ever knew, I know who these two teams are. And we still see that today. So yeah, you're right.
It's very funny.
Yeah. But as we saw in their demonstration in the first matchup, apparently that didn't have a huge effect on things.
Yeah, and also the other thing we've seen, we were talking earlier about map picks and how it's just up in the air. We don't know what team is dominant on what yet, because this really is the first major tournament. In the first two major matches we saw, both teams lost their map picks. They picked the map, they lose. The other team had their map pick, they lost it. It's like...
Which is kind of funny, because if you think about duel history and knowing your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, where map vetoes are they are crucial. And sometimes, just like they say in draft game, it can win or lose the matchup if you don't get the pool that you want. Not really knowing, I do think that there's a little bit of a guess game. I mean, right, each team is well, we think this is our strengths and this is their weaknesses, so suppose we go for it. So someone mentioned earlier, but it does feel like it is establishing how these teams will approach these maps, and maybe these selections will even change as the tournament progresses. I don't know, DDK, you think I'm crazy or what?
No, I mean, everyone has to basically feel it out, especially because, again, we had a patch that was put in very recently. It does change things. I think, for example, just reducing some of the variance with the power-ups obviously will change things as well as also getting the experience against teams not from your region. But I love that we're starting on Lockbox because when my team was first practicing against 2Z on Lockbox, it really felt like they figured something out that no one else had figured out. And it felt like maybe they were controlling. Like they figured out how to spawn, how to select spawns or something. Like they were so fast on intercepts and so on, and it really forced us out of necessity to play way faster ourselves and be much more perfect on getting all the perfect soul throws and the entire team having an understanding of exactly what's happening at all times. And I mean, this is a very chaotic game. It's very fast-paced, so it takes a lot of team playing and really solid communication to do that. And obviously, that's the strength of theirs. So I feel like it's a really good test for Liquid because we haven't seen Liquid in that environment just yet.
Well, you know what? You mentioned soul throws too, and I feel like even from the qualifiers, I feel like now teams are thinking about that more to how it can affect them in the game or how it can give them an advantage. You know, we obviously saw it even in the early days of Sacrifice, but even that previous game, I think there was a lot of changing the height, like throwing it down the map, and then having someone right there to scoop it back up. And I sort of feel like if you put teams and you measure on paper, like they've got great aim, they've got good control. And I kind of feel like how you handle a soul, whether on retrieval or as you're running, is just as much a skill set as some of these other things that they need in the game. And, are some teams better at predicting that, communicating that with their teammates? I mean, I don't know if we've actually seen that here, but I do feel like just from the qualifiers already, the little time we've had, that's been an area that's been improved upon.
Yeah, the passing of the soul is really impressive. And kind of to follow up on DDK's point about pace. I focus a lot on this, especially more in duel, but even in matters in team play. If you are dictating the pace of a Quake match, if your team wants to play slow, you slow the game down. If you want to play fast, you're speeding the game up. If you have that control over the tempo of a match, I'm saying it's not a guarantee you're going to win, but you're in a really good spot because you really are, you're making them play how you want to play. And they may want to play faster and you're slowing them down. It disrupts you and it also disrupts them mentally because they're thinking, I want to accomplish certain things and I want to do it this way. And it's like, well, I can't do it this way. It takes them out of their game, and then they have to make the adjustments. So I want, like I said, I want to see which team makes the better adjustments in this match, because it's going to come down to it.
We are seconds away from getting started. So DDK, any final thoughts before we head into this game?
Final thoughts would be, I feel like the team that's most consistently able to get the more open point, the bigger point, is actually going to be the victor, because I think this is the only map in the pool which really favors that. But I think 2Z will win I think probably 2-0, I'm going to say.
All right, the predictions are coming out. Well, I'll tell you what, regardless, the winner will be moving on to the semifinals taking place on Saturday, and it means they are also in the money. We are about to get underway. Let's kick it off to our casters.
DDK, I love that natural European confidence. I feel every European caster goes to an American tournament, it's just like the European team's going to win it. I'm right there for you. Zoot, introduce Sacrifice to us in 140 characters or less.
I'll do my very best. Both teams are playing it for the soul that spawns 20 seconds into the game. Bring it over to the obelisk and hold it for 2.5 minutes, and you will win a round. Win 2, and you win the map.
Perfectly done. All right, here we go. Underway with 2Z starting to pick up a handful of frags, and it will be Celeste, Pip, and Zron going to eat away at those Team Liquid players. And here we go as Team Liquid will move through and collect that soul.
I love how it is already. He passed that soul to the faster champion, Latromi, with the Anarchy being able to swiftly move over to that obelisk. And also to note, Galena, we have not seen used at all at the regionals whatsoever. Zron has picked up that champion and is using it against what is quite a squishy lineup that Team Liquid is using.
Rafa here going to get himself an easy pick onto Claws there, and then we'll go hunting for more as he lines up Celeste and will, in the end, get down himself. And that quad, sometimes a bit of a devil and a curse, or a gift and a curse at the early stages.
No, indeed. You might find that people are focusing on the soul a lot more at the beginning, and 45 seconds into the game, that quad will spawn. The objective is going to be the main focus, but when protection spawns at the second time round, 2:45 in, people are really going to be paying a lot of attention to that, because that can be a game changer. Quad right in front, though. Claws managing to get it on his hands a bit, and it's slowly ticking up with 25% already for 2Z. This seems like a nice start that they'll happily welcome.
Yeah, they are picking up frag after frag. Claws is patrolling on top of that obelisk right now, looking down towards, who is that down there, as he will get picked up by Rafa, who will be able to escape and push back Latromi as well. Nice play, Latromi trying to get himself involved, and up to 32-0 though, as the Soul is about to get picked up.
I like how we're seeing the 2Z guys defending from the outside of the base rather deep inside. So it means it's blocking off any of the choke points where they need to throw that Soul. But it does look like, I think Dahang managed to grab the Soul for a moment. We've got Rafa chasing nearby. And that is actually going to be Silencehead who manages to grab it with the Soul-like briefly, passing it around, trying to get the pummels going. Claws trying to get some of the action on Slash as well. But an absolute, well, just a huge carnage going on the outside of base B.
Yeah, so that's picked up 2 frags in the end before going down to Rafa, who himself helps himself to a double. And now you will see Claws also before getting destroyed by, I think it was Dahang coming from behind.
Yeah, Rafa now, he's got 10 seconds until that power-up's going to be up. It is going to be protection. We expect this to be heavily contested. Rafa sitting and waiting there. I'm just wondering, where on earth have all the players from 2Z gone? It seems like their focus is elsewhere. 79 health, that reduces the damage taken by, well, by 4. And he's trying to get something going. They finally got it onto their point A. Not too much damage. The focus from 2Z has not been great. And at last, Rafa re-secures the base and is now trying to push back all those 2Z players.
Yeah, and he's done an excellent job of this. It's still going with still over like 50 health now as he pushes it. For all that damage taken, he is on form. And we talk about the protection, and it is just so powerful. It is the item to take, and from there, a player like Rafa with it can just change the game. And you can see that Team Liquid have managed to rack up, almost tying this map up.
And also with the small champion having protection, you can have less health and be able to defend yourself a lot again. And you hit the nail on the head with Rafa. You do not want to be giving him power-ups if you're the enemy team. You definitely want to control that very, very carefully. Looks like Latromi's managed to grab the Soul, but isn't able to take it very far out the base. Support, though, comes from Silencehead. We got Claws alongside him with the Plasma Trail, and he's looking to bring it back. That rocket jump, not too bad, but he's a couple of slips, but it'll do just fine. Now the teammates need to come back and support him.
Yeah, Silencehead with the run now, chasing out with his rockets, trying to finish off one of those incoming players. It was Wins. The Frenchman will hit the deck as Sunset now goes in looking for more. He's got another frag lined up. No! Dahang will eventually pick up that frag. And we're on board with Latromi, who helps himself as well to the frag of D. And, well, that obelisk is racking up in favor of 2Z right now.
I'm trying to understand how Zron's going to be playing Galena, because very interesting. You've got the totems. They can either heal a teammate for 50 health, or they can do 75 damage to an opponent, but they can blow it up. So you want to put it in strategic places. And it's going to be interesting to know where is that extra damage and healing coming from later on. So definitely something for everyone to keep their eyes open for.
Silencehead looking to defend that obelisk, and they got up to 65% and counting here as 2Z are holding in. Quad goes up and is collected, and away will go. She gets dropped down. It was Ron, I think, who had it before Dahang picks him off, and now who has claimed it for them. Claws, frag after frag. Dahang and Rafa going down, and God, it is carnage out there.
Oh, Zron's managed to find it straight up. The Claws cleared a lot of the players in that part of the base. That is going to be Zron here. He's putting the totem right behind, so that means they can't see that totem when they're moving into the base. So they can try and clear it by sending a rocket behind, just in case the totem happens to be there. But if they attack it without thinking, they could just suffer 75 damage really easily.
And here we go. Strong going to look to clean out with only 9% left for this 2Z side to finish off playing this win. Rafa goes down, and Zron has been able to absolutely decimate players coming through, and he has just played the middle area and stopped anyone going through. Up to 99%, there it will go, and it should be a 2Z win.
So it looked a little bit difficult at points when, even though 2Z first got the control of Obelisk B, Team Liquid did have a really good run of it, taking it back to themselves, but it seems after a while 2Z, I don't know, the nerves, they fell and everything went back to how we expect. I did say earlier on the desk that I feel that maybe it's not so secure for 2Z to get this win after Team Liquid's been playing, but right now this bodes very, very well for the 2Z team. Let's catch up here in round 2 though.
What can Team Liquid do differently on the second map?
Well, they're going to have to frag a lot harder. You've got some of the most talented aimers in the world on 2Z team, and it's something that a lot of teams and I think a lot of spectators underestimate them since they're not the most famous players in the world at all. So we're going to have to see the aim game on, and we're going to have to see the coordinated rushes. What 2Z likes to do if they have to attack, they'll try and get one pick off, and as soon as that happens, that is the mark for everyone to go in. So we need to see some quick retaliations, I believe, from Team Liquid.
All right, well, away we go.
Howdy.
Looking good and strong. Gonna help himself, but that's going to be avenged in the end before the Trophy comes in. And we're just trading frags before that quad is picked up. Claws had it momentarily before Dahang will pick him off. And
Still there,
Team Liquid, though, still do have that obelisk under control, and up to 25% now. And yeah, this is much the start they will want. It will have calmed any concerns they had as they push through, but Soul has now been retaken.
Oh, that damage from Claws. 1 HP over here for ID. Can he not quite get the last damage? And we've got the 225 bubbles that he can take to heal himself up a little bit. And we saw the beginning really was just a kind of a game of chicken to see who was even going to go for that power up while everyone else plays over by the Soul.
Soul is on the ground for the ID, going for it right now, and he's got a whole wealth of incoming 2Z players, as it will be. A frag coming in from the Trophy who gets it, but he won't be up for long. Oh, he will! 2 quick frags for him, and he is away with the Soul in his backpack as he looks to try and make his way down towards the obelisk and set this up for the first points on the board for 2Z.
That's it. Now looking to see if they can get that second round up. Plenty of time to go, and he's just going to be spraying that acid on the floor, so anyone walks on it, they're going to be taking some damage over time. And that's 10 damage every second for about 5 seconds, in fact. There we've got a good attack coming in from Team Liquid. Are they going to be able to bring it out the base? Because we've already noticed that 2Z love to defend from the outside. You can take the Soul if you like, but the trouble is escaping.
They've done a good job of that, and the Soul will go down. And let's see. It was momentarily with Claws, but he will be picked off. Now collected by Claws once again as he escapes. Has 2 players covering his back as well. Here we go. Claws will run it home, and quickly up to 10% goes that obelisk, and Claws can now get on the defensive as he looks to incoming Team Liquid players who are scratching him right now. And couldn't quite get enough help for himself there as reinforcements eventually make their way in.
Claws coming out again, does get a direct rock. I think they rocketed each other directly just then. Dahang does manage to spot that totem on the teleporter exit a little too soon. Quad coming up once again. And someone grab it, please, finally. I think somebody took it. I believe that was Wins who got hold of it. There is Blendenix trying to do some damage. He's going to kill himself for a teammate, but an opponent just ran in at the same time. You can't use a bind to do that. You've got to go onto on the menu to kill yourself. And they're suffering. ID hasn't got much health. Are they even going to be able to attack the objective?
He's going to make his way in. He is covered by 2 players. I think more than anything, he just wants to run that quad down rather than sit in another player's hand, because he didn't have the health to really contest. And in the end, they've been able to pick up 1, 2, 3 frags going in here, and now they'll try to move in.
Passed across. There's Dahang. Going to be trying to slide a little bit. Silent Step trying to slow things down. And there's going to be the pummel from Claws just sliding right into him. And I know that he's been working on those pummel moves quite a lot lately, so working fantastically for him.
There we go, moving away, you will see 2Z to some almost 60% on that obelisk as Team Liquid's attacks just aren't working for them. And you lost much of what you said about, big pick coming in there, and it will be Claws onto Dahang and defending that obelisk so resolutely at the moment. Team Liquid can't get close.
I know that 2Z have actually been saying last night, in fact, that actually people underestimate the Tri-Bolt a lot. They said it's a fantastic defensive weapon, and I think we're seeing some examples of that right now. Claws coming close, striking fear into his opponent's eyes with the pummel as he slides towards them. Slash being one of the fastest champions in the pool champions that we have. ID very weak, and I think I just spotted that. Yeah, Rafa moving past. Getting those health bubbles would help a lot, but that rail comes across doing 80 damage, and of course only 75. Anarchy, a very weak champion, especially with no armor.
Perfectly timed rail there waiting for Rafa as he came around that corner. On board with Claws, 45 points of health, drops down at obelisk, come up to 82%, and this really is looking, barring something special from Team Liquid, to be a 2Z 2-0 as they push forward now, and they're going to go in again, and that obelisk is under very little threat. But now is there an opportunity here as Dahang charges pushes through, gets himself the first frag, and the obelisk is away, and Dahang will move into the protecting role as that soul is tossed across the claws.
What, he just passed it to a teammate. Now he's passing it at the other side of the acid, and they're trying to stick them in a choke point here where they can't get out. All of a sudden, the 2Z players have just locked them down completely. Are they going to be able to bring it back at all? I think there is Team Liquid just managed to grab it and are finally going to get a few more % on the board. It's just a question now, how quick are 2Z going to come back? Look at this.
Gets picked off trying to defend. And now you will see the soul in the hands of Claws as he will ride the rockets and in the end ride them too hard, as it'll be he who gets that frag, and the soul now picked up by Zron. Zron taking a lot of damage, goes in the rocket training, and he does have some reinforcement, tosses that soul out, and will be taken away.
I think it was Latromi that just managed to grab it and take it back to the base. Excellent coordination that we're seeing from 2Z at the moment. The speed, the pace that they're bringing does not seem to be matched at the moment by Team Liquid. There's only 2% more that they need. Team Liquid really on their last legs at the moment. They have got to bring it back, and they've got to get out of the base, and I can see the 2Z guys starting to pile up.
Wins finds himself with...
He just passed it to the opponent.
Well, whoever said the French would surrender, but he did. I think he got there. I'm not sure whether he was expecting someone else to come in there, but there
That's it.
100% is up, and that will be 2Z 2-0.
Now, they didn't make that look very difficult, Stuart. That was quite quick there from the 2Z players. There seemed to be a lot of struggling. I feel like the coordination that we've got between the 2Z guys, I can see Zron just in the corner, just I know, smiling, laughing all the time, it seems, which is just exactly what their team is all about. Honestly, this is what I thought could happen, but I didn't want to sound like an overconfident European. But it might be happening right now.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, that lineup there's not a lot of big stage experience.
No,
and they don't look like they're nervous in the slightest.
No, which is absolutely amazing. I'm trying to think, Silencehead has been to a few large events. He's probably the most experienced player out of all of them in that regard. We've got Zron, who's he's been to a Moscow LAN. He hasn't ever attended an international LAN, maybe a couple of homelands in the CS in the past. Claws did come to last Quakecon, but he didn't have a huge exposure, I'd say, to the big stage. He's the youngest player on the team and one of the youngest players in the Quake World Championships at the moment at 19. And he's already, I wouldn't say he's got bravado, because he always is very, very careful to make sure he tries best in every game, but he feels that he has the potential to be one of the absolute best. And Latromi, I can just reflect back on the TDM Prague LAN. He doesn't have any major tournament experience, and these guys, they're playing like it doesn't even matter at the moment. They're playing like they're at home.
And for you, this Team Liquid side, All-Stars, they do have all the stage experience you could possibly want.
Completely.
But it's not working for them. What would you do differently? You identified in that last match that they had, you know, they were having issues like in the retake, you know, or getting past that first retake. So they'd be allowed to get the obelisk. They won't be allowed to get to the obelisk. They won't be allowed to get out.
Yeah.
How do you change that?
That's difficult. I think that's the million-dollar question right there. They're just going to have to be stronger on blocking that entrance and trying to hold. A lot of teams, they get the soul and think, okay, I've immediately got to get back as soon as possible. You don't have to take the soul back straight away. You can play the map control. You can try and get the kills, force the spawns to happen on the other side of the map so that you can clear the way back to the base. I also think they might not necessarily have been ready for a Galena pick as well. I mean, this is something that we don't see, and I know that 2Z, they're the type of people who have got a few surprises, a few things up their sleeves that they're probably going to be unraveling in this massive tournament.
What impact do you think that Galena pick had on what we just saw?
You have to watch out for something new. You've got to be aware of something that in practice you don't have to be careful of. Usually you watch out for acid, or you watch out for the plasma trail. You're not really caring about totems. And if you walk around a corner, all of a sudden, 75 damage inflicted. And especially if you're a weak champion, a low health champion, and we saw an Anarchy, a Slash, and a Nyx, they don't have a huge health pool. They go in there and they take that damage, and all of a sudden that's either going to kill the champion or it's going to put them on critically wounded status. And I think already there, having to be aware of that is almost trouble enough in itself.
And the map pick that we saw, would you have gone with that again, or what would you have done differently?
Well, that was Team Liquid's map pick just then. It's tough to tell. I think what we'll do now is we'll find out how they do on Ruins, which is 2Z's map pick. And if it goes just as bad, then I'm really not sure there is some kind of cure. Sorry. And here in the round one of Ruins, which is 2Z's map pick. And we will get things started at the moment as the enemy has got the soul. Enemy being, I think that is Team Liquid, but immediately Claus is going to grab hold of it. We have got all the chaos happening in the middle. And again, just passing it to an opponent. I think he might regret doing that.
Yeah, no joy for him. And that soul is going to move away quickly. And it will be Team Liquid who will put those first points on the board. We're on board with Zron as he begins to wrap up a handful of frags and now goes looking for more and will no, he won't. He and that quad will hit the deck as he tries to escape, shielding his teammate.
I've got Lacroix who loves just going with the shotgun. You can see the power that he holds with that gun at the moment. Is he going to be able to get a couple more frags with it, as 2Z have already taken the soul back to their own point and are racking up those percentage points.
Yeah. History seems to be repeating itself here as 2Z start very strongly once more.
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to be defending, because it's not quite it's not the same layout as we've got on Lockbox. They might be defending a bit more from the middle rather than the point if they're going to be using a similar strategy. But let's find out. Let's be exposed to what their strategies are and see what happens. And we have got Zron down at the bottom. He's managing to get that armor, spawning every 30 seconds in that part of the map. You can also see it in the respawn timer itself. And he is actually going to use that Ghost Walk right at the end. I don't know if that's going to be a panic play, but Rafa comes back. Is the pressure going to keep mounting from the 2Z players? Or is this seems like a really good hold, actually, from Team Liquid?
Yeah, Team Liquid have picked up 3 on the last 4 frags and have just been able to stop anyone getting in. But right as we say that, there has been a rogue player getting in. It was Claus who has got in, and Latromi and Zron both pick up frags. Rafa wins and Dehang all out, and this should open up an opportunity for TZ.
Surely they just wiped the entire team just then. We've got to see that soul carry soon. I think it did get passed back, thrown back over to the top obelisk, and that is Silenstep who's going to be trying to grab it. Has he got team support? Does not seem so. Looks like Team Liquid have found a counter.
And they do, and they have control once more, and points begin to rack up, and you can just see this Team Liquid side ready and waiting for incoming, and there it is. First player in, second player in from 2Z, and frags will be abundant. It's Id who gets the Silenstep down. Now here we go.
Oh, this is Ron. He just manages to get a hold of that protection itself. Claus has taken it back. It'd be great to see what Ron's doing with the protection. If he manages to get some health, it could really secure another 20, 30, 40% on the obelisk. And that's a dangerous amount to be giving away. There it is. Ron does have it still.
On board with Zron, and he will rain rockets down towards who is this. He's just clipped his shoes and then picked off Rafa with the follow-up, and now looking for more. He's going to finish off number 2. That's wins. Rafa wins both out by Zron. Claus, on the other hand, has a double frag of his own, and this is looking mighty fine for 2Z.
And that protection now gone. He's going to have to just handle it with a normal stack of health. Manages to get that 80 damage down before dying, which is very important. Want to weaken those attackers as much as you can. Ghost Walk is available, but I don't know if he's going to want to use that on this attack. Yeah, well, he's going to die anyway.
There we go. It will be Soul picked up there as it trades hands on top. Claus had it momentarily before he gets picked off, and Dehang will go down with it as well. And on board we push as Dehang makes his way, Latromi now makes his way through on top.
Yeah, I think we had Silenstep as well, and Claus following close behind. They just seem to be always stuck together on those attacks, just working as a unit. And he's just like, he does actually want to use that injection, but it stops him from shooting, so he's going to go down anyway. Might regret it, but at least he'll build up his health cap with that Anarchy special ability. And here, defending from mid.
It is going to be Rafa who will be escaping with that throw. Gets himself the frag on Zron, and now we'll look for teammates as he escapes out up towards, tosses the soul up towards the obelisk, and now is just going to turn around and nonchalantly pick off with the help of his teammate. I think was Claus, but then Latromi with 2 big frags going in. Dehang left to hold on, and it will be Latromi doing a whole world of damage in there.
What? That's what's happening there. I think there was another rocket frag he managed to get just before dying. Pressure now, the soul right in the middle, and we have got Silenstep doing a lot of damage trying to get that acid spray out. Didn't hit Rafa a whole lot, but he should be able to bring it back to the point. Now Latromi back with quad, just taken Mega, knows that Nyx has just used Ghost Walk, so can run away. Needs to find the damage, it's only got 12 health. And Claus is just sliding back. Needs to watch out because there is his clone, his mirror image to hang with the Slash himself, making a massive play.
Yeah, and that soul is just being tossed left, right, and center at the moment. And quad is up as well and has now been collected. And it is Rafa who will rejoin the action. And the soul is locked down in the obelisk for 2Z, and there's only 15% left needed for them. And Team Liquid need to get their shooting boots on.
They need to find a way to get in at the moment. You can see 3 of them on the point already, and they just focus fire, and he died so quickly just then. 5% to go here on round 1 of the second map. And wins, uses a Ghost Walk, trying to lay an attack. Are there going to be the rockets coming out? That is going to be the soul taken. Are they going to be able to throw it anyway? Just pass it over to a teammate. But there is silence there blocking exit number 1. And now to go wrap around to go over towards the rocket launcher, and he seems to have maybe found an exit where there are no opponents, but right in front of him, that's Zron, I believe, playing on the Knicks. And he just can't stand the pressure. And that's it, you don't need to push out that far. You can stay on, if the opponents aren't on their own obelisk, you can hang around there until your teammates give you the green light to go in that right direction. And they're up, they've brought it back to 99%. We might see the first round go down now.
Oh, picked up quickly there. I think it's Rafa who's in the mix of things. But if it doesn't happen now, it soon will, as that soul gets picked up once again. Raining in some shots from Wins now as they try to finish off the job.
Is that it?
And there it is.
Wow.
Now that off run from Wins there, I think really sums up the difficulty you have playing against 2Z. Wins tried to go out the first way, but Silence was there waiting for him. So he went backwards, dove down, and still couldn't actually get out of there. He may have had, like, as the point you were making was, doesn't matter if you don't have it as long as your opponent isn't scoring point. Wins probably had the soul for 20 plus seconds or so, but he went nowhere with it and didn't move more than 5 seconds away from the enemy base.
Doesn't matter if you're holding it for 5 minutes and no one's getting points. You've just got to make sure that you get to 100 first. There's no time limit in order to do that. So we'll see if anything changes. Again, these are still early rounds within the tournament, and there's still a loser bracket for these guys, either of these teams to go to.
Well, let's see how this game evolves. Do Team Liquid have something in their pocket to change this game up?
I think that was Hang who managed to get the soul first. And we have got ID bringing it back with Sorlag. Now, is the attack going to come straight away? They need to find out the way to bend off against them. Already, Claws trying to lay down the attack, but they're not getting any of those early picks, which is actually a great first defense for Team Liquid. And they might even be able to get onto the power-up as well. Now, this fine for the soul to be given up. It depends what the Hang can now do with this. Can he keep that pressure going? What that is amazing from Claws. He just all of a sudden just locks out that choke point, and then suddenly Dahang isn't able to follow at all. And that's very, very creative, on-the-fly decision-making from 2Z.
Dahang in the end doing his job regardless as he gets out of there, and he was waiting for Latromi as Latromi eventually made it. Dahang now tosses down that soul and goes hunting for more 2Z players, and he sees Claws be the first player to make his way in.
He's just got the gauntlet out.
Up on that B obelisk now, the soul slowly making its way there in the shape of Rafa, who will get in, and eventually enough damage is done to those 2Z players. What did Team Liquid do right there?
They were a lot more patient on that occasion. They waited for the right moment, and Rafa, again, using that movement, the speed of Anarchy, and again, being creative in his own right, getting that rocket jump across. So, patience is definitely the answer for Team Liquid right now.
Maybe a light at the end of the tunnel for Team Liquid fans.
Could say that, but there's a long way to go still. They do have the edge here on the second round of Ruins, but there's plenty more game to be had. And Latromi just coming back here, avoiding any pummel damage. He's still got, he's taken the Mega and he's taken the armor, and his aim is absolutely mental. They still haven't done damage to him, and this could make the initial attack quite challenging. All right, so Hank doing God's work there with the rockets.
We're on board with Claws as he does damage to, well, what was Wins, but then 3 frags out of the next 4 go to Team Liquid as they push in. And now Zrom will try to do some damage with Wins, but Wins will come out on top in the end.
Yeah, he did do good damage, as you say, which is already going to be weakening them when they try to make it back to their soul. ID, 75 health, he's going to rocket jump into the LG of Latromi. Have they managed to get the soul back? Not yet. Latromi, he's taken it. He's got a teammate who's got the quad damage as well, so this should be fairly comfortable to bring it back to base.
He will do exactly that and has a teammate for company as well, and there are 3 players set up to defend, and this is going to be a very difficult retake for Team Liquid.
Definitely. Oh, there is a player on the side. Stron is going to be spotting him, and he just suicided, in fact. He wants to give the quad to a teammate. Did he manage to grab it? It might even still be sitting on the base. And let's see, as Latromi makes it back into that side, that is going to be Claws who manages to grab hold of it. And the percentage points have now long passed what Team Liquid have got on that 25% still. May I remind people that Team Liquid have yet to win a round in this series. I don't know if they've got over 50% either on any of the...
No, they haven't. Claws now will pick up that frag onto the hang now. Rockets away, and Rafa down by Latromi as he goes hunting for more. And Team Liquid, when they get over towards that 2Z side, are going in 1s and 2s. There's never that combined defensive power that you can see from 2Z.
It's absolutely staggering as well of the aim. And I love how they use the abilities of the champions to complement how each other are playing and how those situations unravel. And again, to see the speed that they're playing at, making those decisions in real time is absolutely staggering. We've got Silence a bit, going to be grabbing that Mega. We've got 20 seconds or so until the next power-up spawns, and I think down in the lower area, we might have some pressure now from the Soul-like of Silence set, but he gets 2 frags there, make it 3. ID will shut him down in the end, but that's killed by Zron. That's a team wipe. And I believe 2Z are going to be looking to get back now.
Away they go. Claws has someone just cleaning out the road for him ahead, and he will eventually put that down. He knows that there are 2 players on his 6, but he will escape, and they will set up kind of this defense just outside of that obelisk to look to go through. Nice frag coming in from Dahang. Silence himself has some kills, and he will be going back to try and stop Dahang from getting into that obelisk, but Rafa will pick him off with that rail.
Yeah, I think that is Dahang, who still has got that protection. He's got the soul as well, and absolutely, if you've got both of them, you're making the right decision. Swinging on by that lightning gun, only doing 1 damage at a time, but he's slowly starting to lose health. Although the protection should enable him to get a few more percentage points on the obelisk. But now it's back into the danger zone.
This is Team Liquid's best chance here. They're up to 40%.
Yep.
I don't think they've been this high in any of the previous maps. And Dahang is holding on with all he's got. And 2Z just struggling, but you feel like 2Z have a plan. They're waiting to get together before making their assault.
They're basically waiting around corners at the moment and waiting for Latromi or Claws to open up the defense of Team Liquid, and that's when they should all buy and work together, play at the same time, and make an attack on Obelisk B. And now Claws trying to make his own magic work. Zron now starting to support a little bit more as well, but I think they're going to have to maybe escape it. Oh, actually, they have successfully gotten the soul out. Can they bring it away and send it to middle? Not yet. Someone put it back onto it, and it's going to be locked to Latromi. He might need to think about passing it elsewhere, but he's found an opening. But there's a very important rail by ID to shut him down.
In vital escaping rail, you could say, to stop him from getting anywhere. And there's Rafa, who will prevent that soul from going anywhere. Rafa, though, in the end, was dropped by Claws. Dahang avenges, and that soul changes hands once again. It is on board with Dahang now once more, as he will escape. Has very little in the way of health or armor, though. Tries to make his way up, and is picked off by Silence, who's waiting there for him, and claims himself 2 frags.
We've got the Soul-like getting multi-kills with the pummel. It's just crazy at the moment. Silence killing himself, actually. We have got Zron, who did get hold of the quad damage, and he's about to be supporting the Soul carrier, which looks like his Claws at the moment.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job of just picking up 2 people who were exclusively focused on the Soul, and that allows Soul carry away, and it allows him now to go looking for frags. He's got 2 from the left, 2 from the front, and he's doing damage to all of them. Rafa down, second frag coming in now. Oh, teammate will take it from him. It was Dahang that goes down, and this will very soon be the game for 2Z.
They just killed themselves as well to pass that quad to a teammate. I think Claws grabbed it very briefly. We've got an attack here, 99% for 2Z. Last chance here for Team Liquid to make something work. And I think that was Silence just getting in the way. The soul being passed back to base from Zron, but it is Dahang going to be slowing down progress.
Dahang is being a nuisance, but still rely and wait for those final deaths to come in on Team Liquid as they push in right now. There's Rafa who's charging in. There's the Latromi. Claws will all pick up frags, and that's 3 unanswered frag. You're at the 100%, and you have yourself a game. 2Z making it look too easy.
Yeah, you're not kidding right there. 66% though, Team Liquid got personal best going up versus 2Z. I've got to say, that was really, really convincing from 2Z. As we said earlier, they're on the big stage right now. They've got the pressure, they've got all eyes on them, and they are delivering. We've just got a stretch here from Zron. It's like, I'm waking up, and this is what I like to do in the morning. We'll move over to lunch in our next match.
If you had to pick a man of the match for you, who would it have been?
Oh, it's honestly, it's really tough to tell. I love how Zron adapted to a lot of the plays, but I gotta say, when he was looking on the kill feed, I saw Silence. He seemed to be omnipresent, and as well making some of these gauntlet frags with this huge and slower beast, which is Sorlag. I mean, again, great contribution to the team.
And your homework for Team Liquid, what would you tell them to go away and look at after this?
I mean, it's definitely tough to pin it down onto one thing. I think patience is one aspect that they could definitely work on, that they don't need to take it back as soon as possible. They're good at passing around the soul to each other, but I think they just need to hold on and wait until they've actually cleared a route back to base. But there's definitely, that's not just the one thing, the one part of the formula that's going to suddenly make them unbeatable. They've got to work on the coordination. You could see the plays from 2Z, that they were just working in unison at all times, and we're not quite at that level with Team Liquid.
Well, let me tell you who else is on another level. That's Marcus TJ Graham.
Thanks, Tosspot. Appreciate that. I want to shoot to DDK because you talk so much about 2Z's pacing, right? We talked about their, like, people have played him and said they're sort of playing this different style. And if I could, like, put that into words, I kind of feel like it was the start of a 20-mile marathon, and 2Z just, like, started running as fast as they possibly could. And Team Liquid kind of say, oh, crap, we gotta run that fast to keep up. And Team Liquid was never quite able to catch up. Like, that was not only an impressive 2-0 win, it was